When you're born into the Mafia, life is pretty simple. You don't ask questions, you just do what you're told. That was true for everyone except the boss's son. His father was the most feared man in the city, but to everyone under him, he was known as Old Man Mancini. He had earned that nickname the hard way, though. It hadn't come from his family or those who worked with him. No, it was a name given to him by the police force that hunted him down every day of his life. But they never managed to catch up to him. And now, as he laid on his deathbed, he was ready to pass on his legacy to his son. The problem was his boy wasn't interested in taking over the family business. Well, maybe that wasn't entirely true. Niccolo Minetti did want the power and money that came with being the head of the family, but he didn't want to get his hands dirty, not that he couldn't. The kid was a cold-blooded killer from the age of 14, when he took out one of their rivals after catching him trying to run away with one of their shipment bags. Since then, Niccolo had been hailed as the rising star of the Mafia, the future boss that would bring the family to the top. But while he had proved himself capable, there was one thing holding him back. His father had promised his mother before she died that he would keep the family business clean. No dirty dealings, no hurting people, nothing that would stain the family name. After all, they were supposed to be respected businessmen. Sure, everyone knew they made their money through illegal activities, but still they didn't want to make things worse than they already were. So Niccolo had always steered clear from doing anything too brutal. That's why it was such a surprise when news broke out about what happened in Las Vegas. 2 rival gang leaders had been found dead in a hotel room. They hadn't been shot or stabbed, but mutilated in ways that made even hardened criminals sick to their stomachs. The police had been unable to determine how the 2 men died or who had done it. But everyone in the Mafia knew who was responsible, even if they weren't willing to say it out loud. And the biggest shock was that it hadn't been the usual suspects, the Brutasco family. Even though they had been rivals with the Monachietti for years, they wouldn't stoop so low as to do something like this. Whoever was behind it had struck fear into the hearts of the entire Mafia. This was something completely new and terrifying. It was also an opportunity. With the heads of the 2 families taken care of, it was only a matter of time until someone else tried to take over. And Niccolo was determined to be the first. But his father was against it. "You will not touch them," Old Man Minetti said to his son one night. "I made a promise, and I intend to keep it." But Baba Niccolo protested. "Those men are our rivals. They killed our men and took our money. Don't we have the right to seek revenge?" "No, you don't," his father snapped back. "We might be ruthless, but we are not animals. We don't kill people for fun. Those men are dead because they deserved it. But that doesn't give us the right to do the same. We could take over the families, yes, but what would be the point? We would be no better than them." That was a sentiment shared by many of the family's soldiers. For generations, the Monachietti had prided themselves on their code of honor. Sure, they would do whatever it took to protect their own, but they never went out of their way to hurt others. Not anymore. But times were changing. As the years passed, more and more families started acting just like the Brat Viscos, killing anyone who got in their way. And soon, it wouldn't be long before the Monachietti would have to follow suit if they wanted to stay on top. So when Niccolo heard his father talking about retiring and giving him control of the family, he felt nothing but disappointment. "You can't be serious," he said. "Are you sure you're making the right decision?" "I am," Old Man Minetti replied, though his voice was weak. "You will take over for me. You will keep this family together and make sure nothing like this ever happens again." With that, he handed over the family symbol, a golden crown, to his son, officially naming him the new boss. But Niccolo wasn't interested. All he could think about was how he could take over the Brutasco family and avenge the deaths of his men. At first, he kept a low profile, waiting for the right moment to strike. But he didn't have to wait for long. One of the Brutasco's relatives, Salvatore, tried to take over the family business, but he was stopped by Niccolo. "Don't you know who I am?" Salvatore asked once he had Niccolo at gunpoint. "If you let me go, maybe I'll be generous and allow you to die quickly." "Oh, I know who you are," Niccolo replied, a cruel smile forming on his face. "Salvatore the Snake, huh? I heard you killed your own cousin to take control of the family. Oh, sure, a piece of work." "Who sent you?" Salvatore demanded. "Let's just say someone close to the family," Niccolo said, before pulling out a gun and shooting him dead. News of the hit quickly reached the ears of the remaining Brutasco members, and they were furious. Now, without their leader, they were vulnerable. They needed time to figure out who they would put in charge next. Time Niccolo thought about that. His father had wanted him to keep the peace, but peace wasn't what he wanted. He wanted power. He decided to send a message to the remaining Brutosco family members, a message that would make them regret the day they were born. Niccolo gathered all of his men and gave them a speech. "Our father has passed the torch to me, but it's time I pass the torch on to you all," he said. "From today forward, we are no longer going to hold back. I want you all to let loose and show them what we're capable of." As soon as his men heard those words, they went crazy. They had been holding back for years, but now they had permission to go all out. Niccolo watched with a satisfied grin as his men went on a rampage. They left messages written in blood on the walls, warning the Brutosco family that they had taken their souls. He could see how scared the other family members were. It was music to his ears. One by one, the Brutosco family members were picked off until only one remained, Bruno, the youngest of the bunch. Niccolo found him hiding in a warehouse. The kid was only 17. "Why?" Bruno asked. "Why are you doing this?" "'Cause I can," Niccolo replied. "Because your family wronged mine, and now it's time to pay back. Your family might be gone, but that doesn't mean it's over. You will carry on their legacy. You will live your life knowing that you are the last Brutosco." With that, Niccolo shot him in the chest, watching with satisfaction as he collapsed to the ground. Then he placed the crown on his head. It was heavy. He knew his father would be disappointed, but it didn't matter. He had become the most feared man in the city, and that was all that mattered.